Um, yeah, for sure. And they end up teaching you as well, like sign language. Like I remember at the end of the class, right, we all sat down and you did the stretches and the breathing and just to calm everybody back down. And he signed to me like, I'll see you next Monday, but I couldn't remember what Monday was. So I was like, like, what's this sign? Can you like finger spell it? And he spells it out. And I was like, oh, okay. And I like joked back with him in sign, and he's there just laughing. And the whole class is just like, just watching us two numpties just kind of going at it with our hands. And it was so cool. Like even the support worker was like, what is he saying?
Yeah.
I'm
No,
like,
I think like a lot of people tend to pick up on what you're doing and they just kind of turn around like, wait, what are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's so, like I just said, like it's so rewarding, and to just see that person's face sort of light up when you start signing is just the best thing ever.
Yeah, I think it's the same with like languages as well, right? Like us Brits are absolute assholes because we go everywhere and we're like, why aren't you speaking English? You're like,
Yeah.
well, we're not in fucking Britain no more, you dickhead. That's why,
Yeah. Exactly.
And if you're even just able to say like hello,
Yeah.
people just like, oh wow, this is awesome. Like, thank you for making even like the slightest bit of effort. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. Like that added languages at uni. So like when I go somewhere, like if I end up having to use the language, they kind of look at you like, oh, because obviously I look like British normally.
Yeah.
So they don't expect it. But I think people have like a newfound level of respect when you go to the effort of speaking their language or signing with them. It's nice.
Yeah, man. You meet someone halfway, you know what I mean? Rather than
Yeah.
just like, nah, you've got to come to me. I was like, no, mate, like it's halfway, especially coaching as well. Like I think it's so important. Like, if you're in a class, for example, and people come in from here, there, and everywhere, right? Like you've got to be able to offer them something rather than they're just there with a dictator in front. Like, nah, go fuck yourself. Like,
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
mate. Well, I guess you're gonna have to introduce yourself, because I ain't gonna introduce you. This is not
Oh
BBC.
God.
You know what that's like. I'm just
Okay,
gonna watch
well,
you sweat, like try and like.
I hate stuff like this. Right. So my name's Annie Nelson. I am an international powerlifter and I also coach.
Just powerlifting.
Yeah, just powerlifting now. I started doing like general PT, but specifying in strength training. But now it is solely competitive powerlifting, which I absolutely love. Like I've still got a couple of clients that do general PT, which is also great. But now when I take anyone on, it's just people that want to compete in powerlifting. So I'm lucky enough to be able to make that niche.
Well, it's your sport, man. At the end of the day, like you're gonna know all the nuances that other people won't. Like you're actively involved, so you know what it's like on the inside.
Oh yeah, like I would always say that, like, try and get a coach that's lived and breathed it themselves, because like
Yeah.
there's no better advice like than someone who's been through it themselves and been in your shoes. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like me and my mates will joke all the time. It's like people getting weightlifting coaches for someone who's never stepped out on the platform. You're like, mate, you know how to snatch a barbell, but it doesn't mean you're a weightlifter. You know what I mean? Like,
I couldn't agree more. Like you see it all too often, like especially with powerlifting. Like I think because people, obviously it's squat, bench and deadlift, right, which is like things that most people who go to the gym do anyway.
Yeah.
And I think general PTs who work with like general population, they think because they know how to coach someone to squat, bench and deadlift that automatically makes them able to coach someone through a competition. But like it's so different to that, right? Until you've been in that situation yourself, you can't pass on like quite as much as what that person probably needs.
Yeah, and like the fitness industry is a weird one, right? Because it's so easy to get into, but also really hard to get good at. But people just stop at that first bit of just like, okay, I got my like level 3 or whatever. Okay, I'm going to be able to coach everything. You're like, oh, here we go. Like, no, you can pass an exam, which is like 20 years out of date. Congratulations, Jeffrey. But like, powerlifting, CrossFit, strongman, all these things are a bit different, right? And like, it's great to know like base knowledge, and you can take someone through like an amateur comp, right? Or the first thing, you're like, great, get coached by anybody. It doesn't really matter. Someone will handle you, maybe your mate, write something down, have fun, eat some Haribos, and go out for a burger at the end of the day. But like, if you actually want to like neon into this and get into like the specific stuff, yeah, go seek out those people, man.
Yeah, literally, I totally agree with that. Yeah.
I do it all the time, man. People come to me for like bodybuilding stuff. I'm like, nah, not me.
Yeah, like
Wrong guy, mate.
Honestly, I couldn't, like, I'm glad that you're saying that, because I see it all the time, especially with, I think powerlifting and bodybuilding are quite like big for that, maybe because like they're quite, like, people know bits about them when they're a general coach or just work with like sort of a mix of people, but I don't think they quite realize how specialized it really is. Like, I would be the same as you. If someone came to me and said that I want to go on stage, I'd be like, no, do not come to me. Or if they said like I want to go on Olympic lift or do strongman or something like that, I'd say like, look, sorry, I can't help you with that until I've been in that position competing in it myself for a while and like know all the ins and outs of it. Then I wouldn't say I would do that.
Yeah, it helps with the empathy too, right? You actually
Yeah.
feel what they're feeling. You can relate to them rather than just like, oh, okay, like there's this weird shield and barrier in front of you, like talking to them through a glass wall, you know?
No,
And then,
yeah, I completely, like, I feel like I relate to my lifters all the time. Like the things that they come to me with, I'm like, I've had those exact same thoughts. Like, let me talk you through it and stuff like that. It's like yeah, it's really good to have.
yeah, for sure, man. It's knowing your lane, you know.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, like kind of everybody thinks they can do everything. They chase the dollars, and it's like, you know, I think that's where we get into problematic when we charge so little for coaching. You're like, I need to take on 40 fucking lifters. And you're like, what service are they going to get, mate? Like, they might as well go through a Mackey's drive-through. They're going to get more of a service. You know what I mean? Like, you know, sometimes you got to bump that up a little bit, you know, and be able to help some people.
Yeah, totally. I agree.
Well, how long have you been lifting, mate?
So I've been lifting since October 2018. So not actually that long, but
That's
I
offensive.
just like, I know, sorry.
Been lifting like 4 years and is already like lifting houses.
Sometimes I'll look at it, I'm like, that's actually not been long at all. But
No.
when I look at what I've done, like, I trained really hard from the start. Like, I can't imagine working any harder than what I do. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, well, you did it in 4 years, so why can't I? And I'm like, well, you need to work really, really hard. Like, I don't think people quite realize the dedication that goes into that.
And outside of the gym as well, right?
Yeah, literally everything. Like, my whole life, I know that powerlifting isn't a professional sport, but I'm treating it like it is. Like, it's my whole life revolves around my powerlifting performance. So,
well, if you're a professional athlete, then yeah, like that is number one. It's your job at the end of the day. You know, like if you get a couple kilos short and miss, then you've not performed. You know, we go in and get, you know, a 9 to 5, you get the option of performing every single day for those 8 hours. But like, you got to do it once, maybe twice a year if you're nuts. You know, like all that work is like, okay, you now have 9 lifts. And ultimately you're going to have 3, you know, they're going to be added together.
Exactly. It's literally like thousands of hours worth of work for not even 9 minutes, really. And sometimes it's not even like, sometimes it doesn't reflect on the day. And like, that's one of the things that I've had to learn as well. Like, sometimes no matter how much work you've put in, it's just not there, and you have to like pick yourself up and go again. Like, you just can't expect the results to show even if you have put in all the work all the time.
I don't know how powerlifters do it, man, because I like weightlifting. I'm even lazier than powerlifters because I do 6 lifts and I think I've done a big shift. You know what I mean? I'm like, you know, that's a bit too much for me. But like being able to hype yourself up for SB and D, that's a lot, man. You know, pushing those percentages. You know, you go into the gym, like say for example, an average gym goer goes into the gym and goes heavy on a deadlift, right? They're going to be spent. They don't even want to do any lat pull downs or any bicep curls after it or calf raises or cardio or whatever. They're out. They're like, I'm fucked. Now you've got to do 3 on a squat, then a bench, and then a deadlift. There's like, you are written off at the end of that.
Yeah. like I've got an SBD session tomorrow, so I'll obviously be doing all three. And then it's even more than what you do in a comp, because then you'll have like your top sets and then your back offs as well. But like I'm so used to that now, but like I will be really tired by the end of it. Like you have to bring food in and like keep yourself topped up with the caffeine. Like it's quite a lot. But yeah, bench is a nice one to be in the middle though, just to
Lie down and work out.
yeah, pretty much. Like you don't need to be as hyped up for that. Well, some people do, don't get me wrong, but most people find they can be a bit more calm for bench and use their focus because it's such a skill rather than like having to be really hyped up and just think about ripping something off the floor. So yeah, that's quite nice to have in the middle.
Thank you for saying bench is a skill, because I'll spend a lot of time coaching CrossFitters, right? Like coaching CrossFit in the gym, people coming in and out, just wanting to do a little bit of GPP. And if bench ever comes up, you see people just taking it out of the rack and just like slamming it down. You're just like, whoa. Guys, like, what are you doing, man? Like, you are a soft object and that is a hard object. And the floor and the bench is hard. You're in between that, mate. Like, if you just allow that thing to come crashing down, you're going to lose 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah, totally. Like it's people underestimate how skillful the bench actually is. Like it takes years of like mastering it. Like there's still bits that I'm working on, but my bench has come a long way. Like I look at how I used to bench and I'm like, oh my God. But yeah, it's worth it once you like really, you have to be so pernickety with it and like really focus on it literally every single session, but eventually it does start to pay off. So
I think that's why I initially fell in love with lifting, man, is like you can always move it better and you can always add more kilos. There's always something that can improve, and like that journey of like never ending kind of, I don't know, I find it addictive.
Totally, yeah. And like you said, I've said that before as well, how you said there's always more kilos. Like
yeah.
I think you end up getting greedy with it, but in a good way. Like I always like it's funny how your perception changes, I think, of the weight. Like I remember when I first started, I looked at the Scottish record for the deadlift and it was 170 kilos, and I used to think like, oh my God, like how can somebody of my weight deadlift that? But now that's an easy squat for me. Like it's like you have to you're continuously like, oh well, I can put more in the bar though. But then it's so easy to lose perspective of how you used to be.
Yeah, I think that's really important. Like you can't really compare with anybody else, right? Because you'll end up being like a cat in headlights. You know, you look at that 170 and you'd be like, that's impossible. Like I'm pulling 60 kilos right now. Like I've only got like a plate on each side, you know what I mean? And then you slowly incrementally get there and you get the fractionals out and you add the polos on each side and extra couple clips.
Yeah, like you've got to, sometimes I have lifters that say things like they're normally beginners that say things to me like, oh, I've looked at this person and they're just so far ahead. Like, I don't know how I'm ever going to be able to do that. And I'm like, you need to look at it a different way. Like the way I look at it is that person's shown me it's possible to be that strong at that weight, or whatever it is. Like they're not telling me that I'm not good enough. They're telling me like, oh, you can do this as well, by the way.
Yeah, for sure. What I'll do is I'll video the first lifts of people and I'll just store it and I'll just send it to them like maybe 2 years later, right? And they've added like 150 kilos to that total. It's something crazy, right? And I'll just send them that video and you just be like, yeah, don't ever fucking tell me you can't do something again.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
You got videos stored with like, I remember Ian, good mate of mine, I've not seen him in like 4 years now. And I took him through like some CrossFit fundamentals, right? And he couldn't even overhead squat a PVC pipe, mate. It was like 250 grams, he was buggered. And the next thing you know, like I think 2 years later, he was smashing out some heavy clean and jerk, snatches, deadlifts, squatting, and I'm just like, send him that and you say no words.
Yeah, like that's all you need to do.
Yeah, that's all you need. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, fine. I am kind of a savage.
Yeah, I like that.
Mate, I wanna get into psychological barriers and how how powerlifting's helped with that. I saw a little clip. I didn't really get into it because I like hearing it from the horse's mouth. I like to be ill prepared because this is conversations, you know. Like I don't prepare. If we get a coffee, right, and just sit down in a Starbucks, I'm not going to prepare for that conversation. We just talk shit, right? So this is what we do, but I do it on mic. But I'm really interested on like how the weights, because I relate to this so fucking hard, but it's not about me, it's about you. How the weights has helped you kind of battle any psychological barriers.
Yeah, so do you mean in like terms of mental health?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so like when I first started, I was really, really struggling with both depression and anxiety, like really bad actually, to the point where if I didn't find powerlifting, I actually don't know if I would still be here. Like it's done that much for me. So when I first started, I was really struggling with that, and that's part of the reason why I got into it, because I thought, right, I needed to change something. I was training for athletics at the time, and I wasn't enjoying that anymore, and it's not like me to not enjoy training. So I got into it that way, and honestly, like I can't even put into words how much it has changed the way I feel about myself, the way I feel about my life, everything. Like I think it's partly because like it's so black and white that you've got better as well, and it's like about pushing through. It sounds so cheesy, but like if you imagine like you're grinding through like a really hard deadlift that you think, oh my god, I don't know if I'm strong enough to do this, and then you get to the top and you're like, holy shit, I've done it. Like it's the best feeling ever, and I think you can like relate that back to life in a way, and I think that's why it's helped me so much.
Yeah, man. Like I completely agree, you know, and I see it as throwing myself in that bar, you know, like I think everybody can relate to that, you know, whether it's that 170 deadlift, whether it's a 200, 500, right?
Yeah.
Or it's bloody 15 kilo bar, like, you know, that thing in front of you, that object gives no fucks about you. You know, I can put my hands on it, you can put your hands on it, and guess what? It still gives no fucks who it is. And I think you know, plowing those barriers that we kind of place on ourselves into this external object and then physically proving to yourself that you can pick it up is such a like therapeutic yet primal and kind of dumb thing to do, but it's, you know, it's so special.
Yeah, like it's so much more than just lifting a weight, right? Like
and for ego and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, like you have to go time and time again into the gym to get all the hours in, and then you get a reward like that, like being like, hey, you're so much stronger than what you were this time last year or whatever, like look at what you're doing. Yeah, and I think there is something about feeling physically strong as well that helps you feel like more confident in everyday life, which is such a strange correlation, but I've noticed it with myself and a few others. Like I just think it helps your confidence and like a few other things like that as well.
Mate, this is making me fizz. I'm going to headbutt a wall in a minute, but like that's so true. That's why I coach. You know, that right there, that little sentence right there is why I coach, man. You know, I say we teach life through the medium of fitness.
Yeah.
You know, we just kind of make them move around and dish them a little bit of punishment here and there and everywhere, whether it's, you know, through powerlifting, doing burpees, or making them do Zumba. I don't know. I don't know about you, but I'm no Zumba instructor. I don't know. Maybe you do it on a weekend, you know, Tuesday nights, maybe.
You know, I used to do that when I was like 15, I did it.
Fucking A.
I know.
Imagine rocking up now.
I know. I think they'd be like, you've come to the wrong class.
I say, are you sure? You're like, yeah. You know,
yeah,
with your luminous headband on.
Yeah. I used to go with my mum, and I would go to like kettlebell classes and everything. Do you know, I actually remember the instructor once saying, oh, it was a Les Mills class, actually. I remember the instructor saying, like, are you a powerlifter by any chance? And I was like, no. But inside I was like buzzing because I was like, oh my God, she thinks I'm really strong. And now I actually am a powerlifter. It's so weird.
Written in the stars, mate. You know what I mean? That was fate. Fate talking to you. Put this kettlebell down and go pick up a barbell.
Yeah, I know.
I think everybody should feel a barbell. You know, I think it should be coached in schools. You know, I think schools should have a gym attached to it or associated with a local leisure center or whatever, right? And then them having either an external or an internal S&C coach and just be like, okay, up until the age of 16, we're all going to go through a 4-year frigging periodized, and you just keep it the same program, right? You don't have to change anything. They're frigging kids at the end of the day. You're going to SPD, you're going to learn how to carry, and we're going to do some core. You know, you can take units of snatching a clean if you wish. If you don't, great, no problem. But I think it just translates over mentally more than physically, right? Yeah, okay, we're making people harder to kill and more robust for the sport, and maybe they look a little bit better when they get older or whatever, right? A little bit longevity, fantastic. But like, I think they can just kind of attack those things that are going on in their head. You know, we can get rid of all that stresses, or at least try and reduce it a little bit, you know, because we're just kind of throwing tests at these kids and they're 15, 16. I'm like, well, I don't know about you. I never turned up to those tests, but, you know, that's a different story. You know, if
I was a teacher's pet.
Oh, you've let me down, mate.
I know.
Fucking blonde as a teacher's pet. Like, this got to be the first time.
I had to clutch at something.
No, I'm dyslexic as shit, mate. So like, I can't really read the board. So I'm out. I'm tapping out. I'm playing sport, you know?
Yeah.
Mate, I'm interested. What's your purpose?
My purpose? Like within the sport or within?
No. You, Annie.
Now you're asking. I don't think anyone's ever asked me that.
Wow, there you go. It's the first time for everything.
What is my purpose? I think, oh God, I don't know how to answer that. What would you say if I was to ask you that?
Oh, wow, it's a complicated answer. I think purpose is a man-made thing.
Right.
Like, I think it adapts and evolves over time to be able to take us in and out of situations that we either want or don't want to be in.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So like, you know, growing up west side of Manchester with no 2 pennies to rub together, my purpose at that time was to try and find the next meal and go forward, right? But now my purpose can't be the same thing because it no longer serves me. So now it has to evolve and change, and I have to grow throughout that, and yada, 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 you know, but less about me.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying now. I'd probably say, like, in a really cheesy way, like right now, it's probably to help push the idea that females can absolutely be involved in like a male dominated sphere and do really, really well, despite society saying like it's probably not what they should be doing. And it's about promoting the fact that, like, for example, I've just gone up a weight class, and I've put on how much? Like 5 kilos roughly, which I'm only 5'4" and I was quite light at the time, so quite a lot. And like, I do look different now, but like, part of me thinks that I need to push that for other females to make them realize that that's okay and that's completely healthy. Because when I was growing up, it was all the size 0 sort of stupid shit, really, that I was growing up around. And I think like this new generation of us girls who are strength training and things like that are going to have such a massive effect on young girls that are just growing up now. So without being too cheesy, I think that is a massive part of my purpose just now, is to push that idea forward and say like, you can absolutely be a female, still be girly, but like want to pack on loads of muscle and size and go and lift really, really heavy weights.
Yeah, man, it's impressive as shit.
Thanks.
You know, look at those savages. You know what I mean? Like that, it's cool. Like, it's cool as fuck. I don't think, in any sense of the word, I don't think it is attractive for a human being to be this weak individual. Both, again, in everything, whether it's physically, mentally, whatever. You know, just this kind of like, oh, that's kind of an individual that's dependent on everyone and everything else. It's like, there's nothing really attractive, again, in all senses of the word, about that, you know. And I think it just kind of goes across like, just fucking do your thing, get in the gym. Yeah, you want to lift weights, fucking fantastic, like go do it. Let's see what you're capable of, because I think that's rad. I don't know, I think it's an intimidation thing, right? Like whether it's female towards female, whether it's male towards female or male towards male, it's just like, oh, fuck those people. And I'm like, dude, like what do you want about? Like feel that iron a little bit. You've gained some confidence for yourself, and you can actually look around and be like, fuck, you're putting in so much effort. That's so cool. This person lifts 5 more kilos than me or 150 more kilos than me. Great. Look at her move. Like that's fantastic.
Yeah. No, I would like to think that if I ever had a daughter in like quite a few years' time, like, because I'm definitely not thinking about that now. If I had a daughter, then I would like to think that she'll be able to grow up and for it just to be the most normal thing in the world, like that girls are like able to be muscular and go into the gym and like put shit tons of weight on a bar, and like just for it not to be such a weird thing. Like I think it's really important.
Yeah, man. Like it quite weirded me out. Like I was quite fortunate, right? Because when I first got into the gym, right, I used to train this old school dirty bodybuilding gym, right? And no one gave a fuck who you were. You came in, you put 220 on the side, you put your keys on the hook, and you walked in, and you just like ripped shit out of yourself. And you saw ladies just like smashing out heavy ass weight, like destroying dudes' weights. And everyone's just like, that's phenomenal. When are you next competing? Have you got your meal sorted? You know what I mean? And it was just kind of like this equality center of like, if you go in, you're just going to like absolutely kick the shit out of yourself and then crawl out. And it was quite strange for me to get out of that environment and then get to a place where it's like, oh, no, I can't lift that. I was like, why? I was like, because it's not half a kilo and they're not pink dumbbells. I'm like, wait, what? I was like, what do you mean? Like, do you want to lift it? Yeah, but and I'm like, whoa, fuck everybody else, man. Fuck everybody else. Like, if you want to go do this, cool, let's do this. We can start off with those dumbbells if you want, and then we can slowly progress up, right? And I think, yeah, man, creating that environment where anybody and everybody can walk in and be like, hey, coach, I want to be able to do X, Y, Z. Is such a cool thing, man. And that makes that job fucking cool. It's like, great. You want to do an Ironman? Fantastic. You want to be able to do 500 double unders unbroken? Great. You want to be a woman to like be the first woman to deadlift 400 kilos? You're like, fucking let's go. Like let's do this thing. It'd be fucking awesome, man. It's cool to see people do that shit.
Yeah, I agree. It's that like mutual respect.
Hell yeah. And you see someone passionate and, you see it light up in their eyes. Like it's the most beautiful thing in the world. You like see someone do their thing, whatever that it is, whether someone's buddy draws or, dances or just smashes some weights. We're just the quite primal, less evolved human beings that like to pick up heavy things and put them back down again and call it fun, right?
Yeah. That's
what are you doing on the weekend? I don't know, picking things up. What are you going to do after that? I'm going to put it back down.
Yeah, I'm going to pick up some more heavy stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you put them down. I'm weightlifter. I drop them. I'm even more lazy. No, I'm not even going to bring it back down to earth. I'm just going to let it go.
Yeah.
But, boss, I got 3 questions.
Okay.
What's the greatest piece of life advice you ever received?
Probably, I was thinking about this earlier, actually, so it's weird that you said that. Probably that whenever someone tells you like you can't do something, or that you're doing something the wrong way, or like something will happen if you do something, that is only because of how is this worded again? It's like it's only because that's what their life experience has taught them. It's not a reflection of you and what you're about to do. It's like a reflection on what their experiences have taught them in the past. So it's not like, don't take what people are saying as like gospel. Just take what they've said, but just appreciate that they've only come to that decision because of what's happened in their life, not yours.
Mm-hmm.
Just something I always like to keep in mind, because I always listen to other people too much, I think, when my gut's telling me something else.
Always listen to your gut, man.
Yeah.
You know.
So just always like listen to what you want to do, and I appreciate other people's opinions, but know that that's come from their background, and it's not a reflection on you, really.
At the end of the day, you got the final say. You know, it's always good to hear other people's perspectives because they might have seen things that you've missed, right? Like that's probably one of the reasons why I love doing this so much is like, tell me, you know, what do you see? You know, I can only ever see so much. But at the end of the day, you got that final decision. And then once you've made it, like run with that motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly. Like always go with, that's another bit of it as well. Like always go with the option that you find most exciting. Like even if it scares you, just do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jump in, you sink or swim, whatever. You'll figure it out.
That's it.
You know. What's the worst piece of life advice you've ever received?
I don't know if I'd ever say it was like a piece of advice, but it's more like give yourself the credit for what you've done, and don't always say that it's because of someone else that you've managed to get where you are. That comes from like a bit of personal experience as well. Like it took me a long time to give myself the credit for what I've done, because I always used to just like pap it off to other people, and I used to really struggle with imposter syndrome because of that. But I worked with a sports psychologist for a long time. Amelia Potter was her name. She was really good. She helped me realize that it's because of me, because like at the end of the day, it's only you that can do the work and put the effort in. So always give yourself the credit and realize that you are doing really, really well.
100%, man. You know, everyone can give you the answers, but you got to do the test.
Yeah, exactly.
Like no one's getting in that gym and lifting a bar, mate. You got to do that shit.
That's it. Right.
What's 3 words you tell your younger self?
3 words?
Yeah.
That's hard. I don't know if I could put it in 3 words, but I would tell my younger self would be stop worrying what everyone else thinks. Also, like, it's going to get way better than what you think it is. Like, I know you're struggling right now, but I promise you in a few years you're going to be like, how the hell have I managed to get into the position I'm in now? And you're just going to be so grateful for that, and you're going to be like the person that you needed when you were that age. So yeah,
it was big, man. You know, and you're gonna do that in the next fucking few years, right? You'll look back and you'll just be like, you had no idea, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Mate, I appreciate it so much.
I'm just so grateful for everything, really. Like when I look back, especially. So.
Well, like you said, like you're the one who got up and did the work time and time again. You know what I mean? Like it's chess, not checkers. I say this all the time, but you know, you just got to get in, you move the piece, you fuck off home. You come back in, you move the piece, you go home. Like, but you got to do that every day. Like, you know, you got to get up and you just got to start digging. Like, you know, wolf is always scratching, whatever metaphor you want to use, but like, there's always work to be done, you know, and that's in and out of the gym, that's sport, that's on yourself, however cliche it sounds, you know, it's like fucking writing. I know if I don't read, my reading goes to shit and I start stuttering, but again, I'm blonde. So, you know, that's a whole different story, you know.
I know what that's like.
So like, you know, it's everything. You just got to get in, you got to work.
Yeah, that's it.
Life ain't complicated. It's just hard.
Yeah, you're right.
Who would have known a blonde person being right?
I know.
It does happen. And I got it on record. Anyway, mate, I appreciate your time so much, man. Like, yeah, thank you so much.
No, it's all right. Thanks so much for having me.
Good luck whenever you get back on that platform.
Thank you. It'll be 5 weeks' time, so fingers crossed.
Fuck, that soon.
Yeah.
Mate, you're gonna have to. What's the date?
It's the 3rd of December.
3rd of December.
Yeah.
Where are you competing?
It's in Poland for the European IPF champs.
As you do, you know, casually.
Oh, mad.
Fucking mental. But I'll be watching live stream screaming with me pom-poms and me tutu.
Thanks so much. I appreciate that.
No record on that one. You know, people don't need to see it, but
keep that to yourself.
yeah, at least you'll get some sort of support.
No, thank you so much.
Mate, appreciate it. And you have a good day.
Yeah, you too. Thank you so much.
All right, speak to you soon. Bye everybody.